Good evening, everybody, all you fine people out there. Welcome to Graps TV and the Sicko Show. I'm your host, the Matty Man, and welcome to your AEW Collision Go Home Show. We're having some problems tonight with the stream, and I get it, and that's totally fine. At least we're on Facebook, and I think we're on Twitch right now. But, algorithm just trying to mess with us. What can you say? What can you say? What can you do? Except just deal with it, go live, and do what you got to do. And that's what I'm here to do tonight, to bring you some of that good work, hold some special idiots accountable, and, hey, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. But before we kick off the show, I want to start off with just a little taste of what's coming forward once we get everything set up the way it should go. And hopefully tomorrow night we will have no issues with our AEW All In show. But, you never know. I'm still waiting on Twitter to re-verify me. I changed my stuff. And apparently if you don't have your little blue check mark, it won't let you go live with the stream. You can go live from whatever, but it won't let you go live there. Got a little message I want to open up with today for all you young folks out there. And by young, I mean if you're under 35 years old. This is not a lecture. This is something that every human being should know, and it's something that you should have been properly trained on when you were young, but apparently we weren't. So let me be the first person to tell you. Yes, you are bright. Yes, you do know a lot of things. And yes, you're under the age of 35. So when you do all of that, something you might want to think about in your future is what exactly are the ramifications of my actions? The reason I'm saying this, today's news story that came to me and I thought was absolutely hilarious. Fresh off of her Life is Hard, It's Harder When You're Stupid book tour, Ronda Rousey found out that she was retired from full-time in-ring activity. That's not a shocker to anybody with a brain cell or an IQ above freezing. But when you write a tell-all book that basically buries the, at least on paper, largest wrestling organization in the entire world, chances are you're permanently retired. And I say all that to say this: Ronda Rousey, very popular person, very, very good at what she does. She was a good wrestler. I'll give her that much. She was a way better MMA fighter. Just got caught off guard and so on and so forth. And, it just winds up that when life gives you lemons, she went and made stank lemonade with them. And yes, you are Ronda Rousey. Yes, you are the baddest woman on the planet. No, you cannot bury WWE. You cannot get people fired. So I'm going to give you the next news break here. Ronda Rousey's retired. At least from, excuse me, I'm trying not to sneeze. She's retired from any kind of professional wrestling. And I'm going to go out on a limb because, TKO is a conglomeration, no pun intended, for later on. TKO is a conglomeration of WWE and UFC. So that lucrative career you could have had calling matches in UFC, well, shit, that's gone. Gone, never to come back. History. So, just a little lesson to you folks out there under the age of 35. If you write a tell-all book, a friend of mine told me a long time ago, because I was going to do that when it came to pool. I'm a pretty decent pool player. A lot of people know me. That's where I get the name the Matty Man. And, my boss told me, he said, you know what, if you write a tell-all book, that's all you're ever going to tell. And that should pretty much stick well with it. And because we're having streaming issues, this is going to be a relatively short show. I just want to get it up there and get it going and have it in there so that at least I got something going up on the page. And I'm good with that. And in all honesty, we'll get it fixed by tomorrow afternoon. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it tested and everything else. Apparently, I can't go live on YouTube. And I picked a really stupid time to fix my username on Twitter because apparently when they take your blue check mark away, this streaming software is way too stupid to figure out that you still have premium. You're just waiting on your blue check mark again. And here we go. So I might be out of this for 4 or 5 days. If that's the case, then it was stupid on my part. I admit it. I own it. I'm sorry about it. But here we go anyway. After the news, we got so much to talk about, but notwithstanding, and we have other groups out there and they do their thing. And what was this? WrestleFeed. This is my red light, and this is one of those scenarios that I call really, really, really horrible reporting. Tongaloa's greatness needs to be studied. Bro just became a champion by standing in the ring, and they were serious. They were serious. Serious as a heart attack, they were serious. For real, they were serious. Just as an aside, that entire segment last night on SmackDown was absolute. It was trash. It was trash. I mean, they got no pop. They got nothing. They had nothing going with them. And on top of all that, Jacob Fatu is quite possibly the best in my eyes. All around performer, all around wrestler. Now, he would be the best on the mic as well of all of them. The problem is we just never know when that F-bomb's going to drop right out of his mouth, so they keep him very far away from a mic. Jacob Fatu is the man. Not to be confused with Solo Sikoslaw, that blonde ass. He looked like a skunk, a reverse skunk coming. He just nothing. That is just, some things just make your brain freeze, and that's one of them. But anyway, now that we got all that out of our system, I said this was going to be a short show. It is going to be a short show because I'm not going live anywhere really except on Facebook and Twitch, and I'm good with that. But, you know, the reality of it is my base is on Twitter, and it's also on YouTube, and both of which I can't broadcast to. So I'm just sitting here broadcasting out into the wind. I don't have a problem with that. I can talk until my brain freezes again, which probably will happen when I get another one of those dumbass Tongaloa posts. Tongaloa is not that great. He was mid at best, and he will be mid along with the Gorillas of Destiny until the day he dies. Dude can't even hit a low blow. He couldn't get his spot in the ring. I mean, how many more dumb things have to happen before you guys go, whoa, maybe this guy ain't got it? I don't know. Probably a lot. Anyway, though, Collision came to us from Cardiff Wells. It was taped, and I intentionally avoided all the spoilers, watched the show, so I could bring you a live one. And one thing to note here, the takeaway from our week leading into All In for me was really, really simple. Tony Khan's already shown us at this point in time that he can do the same segments, the same everything that WWE does, and in most cases, he does them better. It took me a minute to figure out that Dynamite was still in Texas last night. It took me a minute to get all that because everything blended very well together, and on top of all of that, the show was stacked and packed just like Dynamite and just like Collision was tonight. So, what we have learned this week, the the big takeaway for me this week is that not only does Tony Khan do long-term storytelling, not only does he have a storytelling group, not only does he have a booking committee, but he can do the same thing WWE does every year with Christmas for the troops. He just did that for you. He literally just showed you he can do that too. So you go along with the story segments, you go along with everything else, you put all that together, you wrap it up in a nice little bow. He's capable. He's capable, willing, and apparently it comes easy for him because they were saying he was walking around out there during the tapings and he explained to everybody that everything was taped out of order for a reason. He explained that to the fans. The fans were like, oh, what the hell's going on? He just broke it down for them. But what that does prove to me is that Tony Khan can do anything WWE can do. So when we actually get the deal, and it's coming, guys, it's coming, and I don't want to hear any more of these bad faith bullshit arguments that I've been hearing over and over and over again. It's getting old, guys. Let's stop. Just stop. Just stop. It's not worth your time to argue it anymore. The deal is going through. The product is coming across Max as we speak right now. All In is scheduled and booked in Texas next year. And Forbidden Door is getting ready to be booked in London. This company will be here next year and the year after that and the year after that. And they'll be there until Tony gets tired of doing it. And that's a fact. Whether you like it, don't like it, learn to love it. Seriously. Respectfully. Anyway, we were coming from Cardiff again here for Collision. First time overseas, the pops were out of this world. There were crickets for some, and that was a very important thing in Dynamite, but we didn't have many crickets tonight. Show kicked off with a conglomeration: Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Kyle O'Reilly, with Tomohiro Ishii against the undisputed Kingdom of Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven. This match was somewhat of a mini cheat code. I thought it was a mini cheat code. They worked really well, and even Orange Cassidy. I thought for a minute he was going to start doing some of that bullshit indie stuff he did. Then he went into stride, and I'm not sold on him, but he carried his own. I got to give the man credit. Credit where credit's due. He showed up, showed out, did everything he needed to do. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly submitted Taven with a guillotine choke. There were a lot of good spots in this particular match. Orange Cassidy needs to slow that spinning thing around. He's going to accidentally break someone's neck in the ring, and that is not going to be pretty. So, dude, slow down. Please. I mean, please and thank you. But yeah, the conglomeration went over. It's pretty easy. Glad to see Kyle O'Reilly picking up the win for the team. Kyle O'Reilly's singles record has been somewhat problematic. And it really, 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 really helps. It makes my heart smile when Kyle O'Reilly picks up the win. I don't know why. I'm just been an old-fashioned, old-school Kyle O'Reilly fan. Call me that. Call me a mark. Call me whatever the hell you want to call me. The match was pretty good. I'm not sold on Orange Cassidy. Probably never will be sold on him. I didn't like the gimmick before. Still don't like the gimmick. That's just my own personal thing. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. He did good, and I will say he did good when he did good. He did very well today, with a whole lot less of the stupid shit, and he actually comes together and puts together a good match. Kyle O'Reilly picks up the win, and we're moving right on. Then we had Willow Nightingale versus, oh my goodness gracious, Harley Cameron. Mm, mm. Don't get me wrong, I like Nightingale, but I'm a sucker for new wrestlers with relatively few matches and ones that improve. I mean, I could simp like everybody else is, but this is not a simp conversation here. This is actually something that I have been tracking for close to a month and a half now with Harley Cameron. Her in ring ability, she is getting up to speed. And that's the bottom line. She's getting up to speed. She's covering it. She's got her bases covered. Everything's going really well. Harley Cameron is going to be, if not already, Harley Cameron's going to be my breakout star this year. And it's not because of the looks. It's actually because you see what she put together in the ring. That was just crazy today. The moveset's getting better. Everything's getting better. Her chemistry with other wrestlers are getting better. So I wasn't really even mad when Willow Nightingale picked up the pin because I knew Willow Nightingale needed to pick up the pin going into All In 0 Hour tomorrow, and Tomohiro Ishii versus Chris Statlander and Stokely. Yeah, she needed to pick up the pin really bad. She picked up the pin. Harley Cameron did not make it easy on her. And that's part and parcel to what I'm the most proud of at the moment. Match was great. I would give it at least 3.5, 4 stars. It wasn't a full-on cheat code. It wasn't a mini cheat code because there were a couple of little things going in there that kind of bothered me, the pace and everything else. But overall, Willow Nightingale picks up the win. Pretty clean win there. Tomohiro Ishii raises the arm, etc., etc. And we're moving right on. We had Shibata cutting a promo in the back. He's now an honorary Texan. Yeah, Shibata's an honorary Texan, and so is his phone. But yeah, out there today, I got to stop for a minute on this match right here. Jay Lethal, sir, sir, sir. I've been watching you now about as long as I've been watching wrestling, it feels like. I don't know. You've just been around, you've been around, you've been around, you've been around. Hell of a good performance today. I was completely blown away by how good that performance was against Shibata, who did actually pick up the win with the armbar. And it wasn't so much that one of them had to lose. It was either going to be, brain fart for a second here. It was either going to be Shibata or it was going to be Jay Lethal. And given the age with Jay Lethal and the fact that, his buddy was going to be pretty much second to closing the show, Jeff Jarrett was going to be second to closing the show. He took the L, but in all honesty, I would not have been the least bit upset if Jay Lethal had picked up that pin. Because he really, really, really put a lot into it. He's still fresh. I don't even think he's losing a step. He might have lost a quarter step from the last time I saw him. But that's it. That's it. It was really good. It's really nice. Jay Lethal showed why he's been in the business as long as he's been. He can work a match. He can enhance a match. He's got the move set and the skill set to just make it all work out. And, he didn't pick up the pin here. I mean, he didn't pick up the win. Shibata picked it up with the armbar. But, still shout out to Jay Lethal. Look good in the ring. And then right behind that, we had a squash match with Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway defeating Lycos 2 and Nina Samuels. Quick squash. The emphasis obviously is to show that Stokely can actually pull a move or two. I don't know how he's going to do against Ishii tomorrow, but I'm seated for it. I think it's going to be really nice. I think over and all, but yeah, it was a pretty quick squash match. And then after that, we had Big Bill, who surprisingly was over in Wales. Who had that on their bingo card? Big Bill, live in Wales. Who had that on their bingo card? I sure as hell didn't. But yeah, he came out to a really good pop, managed to keep the crowd going the whole time. Hook obviously came out to a pretty decent pop himself with the tape over the eye instead of the patch. I thought that was brilliant as far as presentation. I thought it was brilliant as far as being the tough guy. I think Hook really came into this match as Billy Badass and walked out as Billy Badass. He picked up the win. You know, it it, to me it should have happened that way. I understand where they're going with it. I really think this has been a testament to patience because literally Hook is having to work with Jericho, who, for some bullshit reason, has decided that he's going to put himself over at what 58, something like that. Yeah, that one just wasn't going to work. Anyway, Hook picks up the pin with the submission, actually puts him to sleep. Pretty solid match, two and a half, 3 stars. But the fact that Big Bill was over as much as he was over made this match pretty well. Gave Bill something, when you're struggling in the mid card, especially in AEW, it's hard to get fans to pull in. So thank you, fans, for giving him that because he needed that. I've always thought he was a commodity outside of Enzo Amore. And maybe, just maybe, he might be showing everybody that I'm right. I think he's a commodity. Now, do I think he could be a world champ? No, 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 I'm good with that. I think he could be a solid tag team world champion. I think he could be a solid anchor for a trios championship. I don't think he's good for the singles. I just don't think he's good for the singles. I don't think you'll ever get him good for the singles. But as far as your tag team and so on and so forth, he's been doing well with Tag Gold. He's been doing well working with people. Maybe, just maybe, this gets Tony an idea to give him a little bit of a push and take it away from some of these people that really god awfully do not deserve a push. They don't. And I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to piss wrestlers off. Don't care. But if anybody needs a push right now, especially if your target market is going into Europe, obviously Big Bill is over in Europe. So it might not be a bad idea to give him a push. Maybe that's the boost you need getting to the place where you need to be in order to be an established juggernaut overseas. I I think they can compete. I think AEW can compete. I think AEW right now is choosing not to compete because of this TV deal. Not even going to play. I've been saying that from day one. Still hanging on to that from day one. It's not that I don't think AEW can compete. I think AEW is not trying to compete because they're not getting the money. So they're given the bare necessities to keep the lights on, and that's good enough. But I do believe that AEW can compete strongly in the United States. Eric. I also believe they can compete even stronger overseas. And I know that whatever WWE does in Japan, AEW can double it. They've just got too many contacts. They've got too much going on there. There is no other way. They can do it. So, with that said, yeah, give Big Bill a push. Give Big Bill a push when you're overseas. I think that would definitely do the product good. It can't hurt the product. And obviously, we had plenty of ring time to go around for everybody tonight. So, obviously, it didn't hurt the product. But after that, we got Ari Daivari cutting heel promo on Cardiff. Everybody was cutting the same Cardiff England shit. You know, I get it, but it's cheap heat. Anyway, he's going up against Brain Dead. Uh, Going up against Double J Jeff Jarrett. It was on the tip of my tongue, guys, and I just said it a minute ago. I just flaked there for a second, and it happens. It's going to happen. Daivari was comical at times, technical in other times. Jeff Jarrett was over like Rover. I mean, it wasn't even a question. It was not even a question as to how over Jeff Jarrett was in Cardiff tonight. I didn't have that one on my bingo card either, but congratulations. And you know, when you're getting into the twilight of your career, Jeff Jarrett had to walk out of that building with a damn smile on his face, and he deserved it. Jeff Jarrett gets over with the stroke. I mean, it was back and forth a little bit. Daivari showed he did have a lot of technical prowess, but experience beats youth 9 times out of 10 and twice on Sunday. Okay? Because, you know, we're older and we figured it out. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett got him with a stroke. There was a couple of good spots in there, the struts and so on and so forth. And Daivari is coming along pretty well as well. I know when he's been there forever. No, he's coming along pretty well. Lots of people have been lots of places forever and they're dumb as bricks. Not half as useful. You got people you work with right now that are dumb as a bag of bricks, not half as useful, but they've been there for a little while. So when you say, hey, they're finally starting to come up, well, I've been here for 10 years. I know. And for 9 years, 9 months, and 30 days or 25 days, you've been a fucking idiot. Now you're starting to come around. So, you know, it just is what it is. Time in ring, time in the game doesn't affect how I look at things. But Daivari definitely made a good impression on me today, as opposed to the last time I saw him when he was just butt-ass stupid and not that good. But he had a good match today. He worked Jeff Jarrett really well. Jeff Jarrett did not have to carry him, which was beautiful. And in some spots, he did actually carry Jarrett just a little bit. But, you know, come on, man. Dude's like 58 years old. You're going to have to carry him just a little bit. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that. No shame. Nothing at all. Jarrett picks up the pin with the stroke. And speaking of which, I almost had one of those the other day myself. They're not fun. Not Jeff Jarrett's stroke, the actual one. It was hard to come down from. Really, really, one of these days in one of my opening monologues, I'll cover it. But that's part of why I'm having brain farts when it comes to names. I apologize in advance. And then the main event tonight was the trios. I almost saw it coming, even though I didn't look at the cheat sheet match. The match that Claudio had on Wednesday, though, just as an aside here, before we get into this match real quick, because we're almost done. We're coming down the home stretch here. Got about maybe 10 more minutes at the most. The match that Claudio put on Wednesday, that needs to get run back. I realize what's going on. I realize this is a way to get Pac his Wembley moment. And by the way, I have an aside on that as well. But that match deserves to be revisited. It was very good. Both guys left it in the ring. It was beautiful. Time limit draw. You don't see those very often. So it was really a clinic on things. That match needs to be run back at least All Out. If we're not getting it for All In, it needs to be run back for All Out. But we were sitting there on bated breath on Wednesday. Of course, you know, we knew that the tapings were out there and so on and so forth, but we suspended disbelief. And we had this long conversation about why they need to run that match back. And by long, I mean it was like 3 minutes, but it was very good, very to the point. And yeah, that match needs to get run back at All Out. I expect to see something like that at All Out. If I don't see that at All Out, I'm going to be real disappointed, because Pac against the winner of MJF and Will Ospreay is already going to take I'm thinking Will Ospreay goes over in that match. But that match right there with Pac and the winner, that's going to tear the house down anyway. So if you had Claudio and Okada, going at it for the Continental title, like right behind that. You could wear a crowd completely out in 30 minutes or less with both of those matches. Needs to be run back. But yeah, the Blackpool Combat Club, consisting of Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. I don't even try Claudio's last name yet because I've been working on pronouncing it. Don't want to sound like an ignorant redneck when I pronounce it. So it's Claudio and Wheeler Yuta with the bastard Pac against Top Flight and Leo Rush. It was the Leo Rush show. For lack of a better way of putting it, it was the Leo Rush show. Yeah, Claudio showed out good. Yeah, Pac showed out great. Yeah, Wheeler Yuta showed out great. Yeah, Top Flight covered their spot. But this was, without a doubt, the Leo Rush show. Leo, sir, keep your head about you. AEW is where you belong. And it shows. And you look like you're having fun out there. And, the beauty of understanding your location. This match was, if anything, a tribute to the beauty of understanding where you are when you do things. They made it wide open. Pac comes in, picks the win up, house torn down. Yet again. Cardiff was on fire for Pac. And shout out to Claudio and Wheeler for figuring that out and making it where he did the finish. Because I could see him calling the match in the ring, so I know they didn't have a plan when they came out. They just knew who was going to win. They didn't know how it was going to go. They called it in the ring. It was beautiful. 5 stars, total cheat code, at least on the side of Blackpool Combat Club and Pac. And like I said, Leo Rush and, I'm not shitting on Top Flight. They carried their role very well. But this was definitely the Leo Rush, Pac, Blackpool Combat Club show right here. The crowd was crazy. Everybody was happy. All was well. Life was good. And Blackpool Combat Club picks up the win. Actually, Pac picks up the win with the black, what was that again? The Black Arrow. I had to write that thing down. Once that match was over with, here comes Christian Cage and the Patriarchy. And Christian Cage and Mother Wayne Brazzers get in the ring. Christian Cage tells them, actually, they don't get in the ring. They get to the back side of the ring. And they tell them, working in trios, you have to keep your head on a swivel, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of that, the rest of the Patriarchy comes in, beats them with chairs. Then we get, House of Black. We've got everything put together that we need to. Now, the question is this. Did that deliver? Did Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision make the case for All In? Because there's still tickets out there that are for sale. There's a couple of thousand. At this point, as of this taping, there's a couple of them out there. There's a couple thousand tickets out there. So the question is, did Tony make his case on the home turf where the pay-per-view is about to happen? And my answer to that is an astounding yes, he did. Tony Khan used and utilized every tool in his arsenal this week. Tony Khan showed you in detail what you're going to get when, not if, when that TV deal with Warner Brothers is complete. He gives you little glimpses of glory, so to speak. This week was absolutely stacked, top to bottom, all 3 shows, all 5 hours. There was less than 30 minutes of not wrestling in 5 hours. Yeah, maybe I'm exaggerating. There was less than 45 minutes of non-wrestling segments this week. There was no MJF getting diarrhea of the mouth. Now, Dr. Britt Baker had diarrhea of the mouth for about 5 seconds. You could tell they were wrapping her up and getting her to the go home of that segment. But they really reserved the video packages, the promos, the in ring, and everything. They really kept that down to a solid minimum. They kept it down to good enough to say that we did some promos, but not too much to overtake the product. They did that all week. And they showed you some of the best wrestling that you will ever see on God's green earth. There were not many between all 5 hours. I think there were maybe 2 matches that probably could have stayed in the back. Everything else told a story. Everything else elevated the product, and everything else elevated the individuals who will be performing tomorrow. So, Tony Khan, with all due respect, I think you made the case. Now, I know that there are going to be other commentaries that say you dropped the ball and everything else. That's what they're paid to do. Don't listen to Paige Shields. You made the case. I'm a new fan of AEW. Only been a fan for like 6 months. This stuff just gets better and better and better and better. You made the case this week. Now you got to seal the deal tomorrow. And if I'm still having streaming issues like I'm having tonight, I'm just going to have to say that we're still going to do a streaming show. Thank you to the one person who has showed up. I appreciate it, whoever that is. You know, leave a comment on the video wherever you're at. Just leave a comment or something. But yeah, I'm getting ready for All In, so I'm probably going to hit the bed here shortly. So with that said, thank you for joining me for your AEW Collision review. I am your host, the Matty Man, here on Graps TV and the Sicko Show. So we will see you tomorrow night after All In. Take care and good night, America, wherever you are.